Hi guys, welcome to my channel where I talk about everything human resources related and it intersection with the law under the Naija HR Chic Series with Ijeoma Ucheibe. If this is your first time, where have you been? You're in for a good ride. Better strap in. So today we're talking about quiet hiring, right? It's a new workplace trend like we have had quiet quitting, the great resignation. What's the other one? Quiet firing. There's always this quiet in front of it. It's almost like it's subtle. We don't want you to know where you're being fired. We don't want you to know that you're being hired. We don't even want you to know that you are quitting quietly. Okay? Only us knows. But I'm going to talk about those one in future videos. But today it's for quiet hiring. Is this something that we have done before? Even though it looks like it's a very new trend that started especially after what happened last year. It just felt like almost all the technology companies were losing staff in thousands. There was a lot of layoffs, and I'm like, oh my god. At this point, will we even have people picking up the calls when we have issues with our laptops or stuff? Anyways, quiet hiring is simply put giving people who already have a job additional responsibilities. And I think I was going to put up a video, but I thought about the IP concerns and I didn't want this video to be taken down. So I said, let me just quietly define what quiet hiring means. And now we have a lot of that happening, especially in tech companies. So you typical example, we are six in a team and for some reason we let go of three, and we know that this is a six or even 10 man job, and then we give the remaining jobs of that six, or rather of the three who have left, we heap it on this the remaining three. So you find one person having to do a job for two people, and then overall in time they start doing jobs of three people, not because we cannot get people to replace them, but also because we are trying to see, is there a way who someone who has excelled in their role can have additional, you know um responsibilities hamped on them. Now hear me out. I have done something like that recently, and I kid you not, it works in very very funny ways if you do it right and if you do it right. So in my case, I looked at, okay, there's some of the tasks that were on my JD that I felt were too operational. I've been doing operational HR for a long time. I had to just tell myself, okay, as a HR professional, you get to a point where you have to start thinking strategic. You're not thinking like a business owner. While you have an idea of operational HR and what these things do, and you should basic knowledge of business operation, you don't dwell in on so much that you forget that at the end of the day, I'm here to maximize profits, create revenue for the business owner, and of course ultimately the organization, and then reduce operation costs. Those are three things, if you're thinking as a strategic HR professional, you should be thinking about. So I said, okay, how about I share these tasks amongst my team members and see what happens. So I know that one of them had come to meet me to say, oh, I I function in a front facing role, and I think I would love to have additional roles, tasks given to me. So I marshaled out all the tasks that I felt everyone, depending on what they were doing at the firm, could handle. And then I gave them to her and the others. And the next thing I heard was, it's too much. And I looked at it and I'm like, babe, I've actually been doing this work for 6 months. You didn't ever think that in addition to my strategic work, I was also doing this? You didn't think that, okay, there was a way that I was able to keep it together? Is it because I didn't tell you this is actually my job? But what I was trying to achieve is not so much the fact that I couldn't handle it. No. In my own case, I felt, how can I quiet hire these people and help them develop skills that they will need in the future? Because right now it's looking like Ijeoma is very lazy. She's packing all her loads and luggages and putting it on her team members. But it doesn't look that way. I know what the end game for me is. I'm trying to get them to come out of their comfort zone, so that you're a front desk officer does not mean you're going to do that for the rest of your life. You need to get to the next level where, when I'm giving you administrative tasks, I don't need to worry about teaching you how to do it by asking you to do it. So any mistakes you make, any clarifications you need to get the job done, I can get it to you, right? And that's the main purpose of quiet hiring them, right? If you look at it that way. Now, quiet hiring is, yes, while you're giving people additional tasks, the employee is thinking, how about I quiet quit, even as I'm giving this additional task? Because they are thinking, While I don't have anything against quiet hiring, I'm thinking the best way for organizations to get the best out of these employees that you are QHing, how about additional benefits? And what is your role as HR professional in getting these benefits to them? Because I know the next thing you're thinking, oh my God, we make enough to even cover salaries and overheads. You're now saying we should pay them extra for their job. Technically, it's not their job because you took someone's job. In my own case, I took some of my tasks. So let's say I was handling 30 of those tasks. I now took out 8 of those tasks and I spread it amongst 4 people. Technically, I'm still handling 22 of those. Do you understand? But in this case, I have a plan, which is to get them to develop a mindset where they can hone skills that they didn't think that they had. And then secondly, get them to a point where they can take ownership of their role, of their JD, and ultimately get to a point where if I am moving you to that role, for instance, you are not acting like a newbie. You already know what to do. You know your way around it, more or less. So those are the things that I looked at when I tried to quiet hire. But most people feel like that trend is done and dusted. It should be done away with because you feel like, oh, this is what leads to employees quiet quitting. I don't find anything wrong with it as long as it is done properly and with the additional benefits. While you're thinking about an additional pay, right? But some people just feel like, that is almost like you're working up too much work on someone who is fantastic at their job. What will happen to their performance in the long run? Won't it get to a point where it's depreciated and all that argument around it? What did you think about today? Do you think Ijeoma has come again with all this unnecessary talk around quiet hiring? Is it a trend that you think is going to continue, especially with what has happened in the tech space? Or do you think that, well, like every trend or buzzword that comes up after 6 months or by the end of 2023, we'll forget that anything called QH ever existed? So let me know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment because we like to keep it very interactive here. And most importantly, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We have a new podcast called Naija HR Chic Podcast. We can find it and follow us on Spotify, Radio Public, and on Anchor. As more platforms become available for streaming of this podcast, we're going to put them for you to follow. But either way, follow the links in the description box below, and don't forget to stay safe, guys. Talk to you guys very soon.